The young and the restless spoilers for years, Amanda had been a figure defined by control. Her brilliance as an attorney, her poise under pressure, and her unwavering sense of justice had been her armor. She was the woman who saw the battlefield before anyone else did, who anticipated every betrayal, every legal twist, every corporate ambush. But power, in Genoa City and far beyond it, has a way of devouring its most principled servants. And somewhere along the way, somewhere between her alignment with Cain and the fractures left behind by unreciprocated love, Amanda Sinclair stopped being the woman who defended truth and began quietly rewriting her own definition of it. She didn't change overnight. She evolved piece by piece, scar by scar, until the lawyer became the enforcer, the protector became the executioner, and the woman once feared in courtrooms became the woman feared in dark corridors behind locked doors. Her alliance with Cain had always been questionable to outsiders, but it was deeper than anyone suspected. Cain, ever the charismatic manipulator, saw something in Amanda that others underestimated, a hunger for belonging so deep it could be weaponized. He fed her ambition, whispered about legacy, vengeance, and dominance in a world that had once treated her as disposable. In him, she saw not only a partner, but a pathway to relevance, to revenge, to survival. And at first, Amanda believed she could handle it. That she could remain in control, even while walking through shadows. But Cain didn't just ask for legal guidance. He asked for loyalty. Unconditional. Ruthless. And she gave it to him, until Lily re-entered the picture. Amanda had seen it before, the glint in Cain's eye, the shift in his voice when Lily's name was mentioned. At first, she dismissed it as nostalgia, the kind of residual affection men always claimed was harmless. But Cain's actions told a different story. The dinners he rescheduled, the secrets he stopped sharing, the small hesitations in his touch, they all pointed towards something unspoken yet undeniable. Cain was falling back into Lily's orbit, and Amanda, the woman who had sacrificed everything to remain useful, was being cast aside like a phase. The betrayal didn't hit her all at once. It built slowly, metastasizing inside her like a quiet disease. And when she realized that Cain had not only used her but emotionally abandoned her for a woman who represented everything Amanda despised, idealism, forgiveness, purity, something inside her cracked. It wasn't pain. It was rage. And rage, in Amanda's hands, became something far more dangerous than Cain ever imagined. Enter Carter. A man with no allegiance, no past worth clinging to, and no future unless he obeyed. Amanda didn't seduce him. She didn't threaten him. She simply offered him a deal, protection and power in exchange for obedience. Carter had already proven himself dangerous, complicit in the tragedies that had unfolded at Cain's estate in Nice. Amanda saw in him not a partner but a weapon, silent, disposable, and effective. Her commands were precise: eliminate the liabilities, clean the path forward, and leave no emotional traces behind. Damien, Chance, and Nick were not just targets, they were symptoms. Relics of a system Amanda was tearing down. Each represented a threat to the empire Cain was building and Amanda was determined to control. But Lily was something else entirely. Lily was personal. The truth Amanda could never say aloud, even to herself, was that she didn't just want Lily gone. She wanted Lily erased. She wanted the memory of her removed from Cain's mind, the possibility of their reunion obliterated from existence. Cain may have started this journey in pursuit of power, but Amanda had taken over the reins. She was no longer executing Cain's plans. She was rewriting them. She had become the architect. And in her architecture, Lily was a foundational flaw. A disruption. A ghost that could unravel everything Amanda had built. So Carter was given a final command: before leaving Nice, Lily must die. If not, Carter would. It was a choice Carter understood too well. He had seen what Amanda was capable of. How quickly her warmth could turn to steel, how her voice, once gentle, could slice through fear like a scalpel. He had witnessed her manipulate police, erase evidence, silence witnesses. She didn't bark orders. She simply laid out consequences. Either Lily disappears, or Carter becomes the next forgotten body in a cold Mediterranean alley. It was that simple. And Carter, who had nothing to return to and nowhere to hide, knew there would be no second chances. Meanwhile, the rest of Genoa City remained unaware of the depth of Amanda's transformation. To the public, she was still the lawyer, brilliant, stylish, professional. A woman of order in a world of chaos. But behind closed doors, in encrypted messages and shadowy transactions, she was orchestrating the dismantling of reputations, companies, and lives. She didn't need public recognition anymore. She had something far more intoxicating: control. Not just of information or alliances, but of fear itself. She could make people disappear. She could pull strings no one else saw. She had surpassed even Cain in ruthlessness. She didn't need his approval anymore. In fact, she was preparing for the day she wouldn't need him at all. The most terrifying part was that Amanda didn't see herself as a villain. In her mind, this was justice. This was what the world owed her. For the betrayals, the humiliations, the years of playing second to women like Lily. She had earned this seat at the top, and no one, not even Carter, could take it from her. She had already sacrificed her principles. Now she was willing to sacrifice her enemies. That included Lily. That might eventually include Cain. And if Carter failed, it would include him too. But fate in the young and the restless has never been so obedient. Lily, unaware of the trap closing around her, had begun to question Cain's intentions. She sensed the danger beneath his charm, the contradictions in his stories, the unease in his touch. She didn't trust Amanda either. The cold stares, the forced politeness, it all felt like something waiting to explode. What Lily didn't know was how close death truly was. How Carter had already tracked her routine. How Amanda had already ordered the deletion of footage. How nice, once a city of second chances, had become her hunting ground. And still, Amanda waited. Back in a luxury suite lined with silence and surveillance, she watched her pieces move. She didn't flinch when Carter missed his window. She didn't panic when Cain failed to show. She simply recalculated. Because Amanda was no longer reacting. She was executing. She was the queen on the board, and everyone else, Lily, Carter, even Cain, were just pieces she could sacrifice to protect her throne. The lawyer was gone. The queen pin had arrived. And in her kingdom, mercy was extinct. The only question left was who would realize it before it was too late, and who wouldn't live long enough to. Let me know if you'd like to continue this arc into Carter's failed attempt, Lily's realization, or Amanda turning on Cain himself. There was a time when Amanda was the moral compass in the room. The one who reminded others of the law, of consequences, of ethics. That woman was now gone. Or perhaps, more frighteningly, she had never truly existed in the first place. Maybe the Amanda everyone thought they knew, the brilliant attorney with unwavering integrity, was a facade, a carefully engineered mask constructed out of trauma, ambition, and survival instinct. And now, as the cracks had widened beyond repair, what emerged from underneath that mask was something colder, more calculating, and utterly devoid of empathy. She wasn't grieving. She wasn't even angry anymore. She was focused. Single-minded in her pursuit of destruction, not for justice, not for redemption, but simply because she could. Because control, once tasted, is a hunger that never fades. It wasn't love that Amanda felt toward Cain anymore. Whatever warmth once existed had been consumed long ago by disappointment and betrayal. His emotional withdrawal had turned into a public humiliation, especially when he rekindled his connection with Lily. Amanda didn't just lose a man, she lost a future she believed she had built. She watched Cain fawn over the woman who had already broken his heart once before, and it ignited something far darker in Amanda. It wasn't about winning him back. It was about making sure he paid for every moment of false affection, every whispered promise, every night she waited for a future that would never come. And so, she began to plan. Not with emotion, but with strategy and cruelty. Cain, for all his cunning, had no idea just how deeply Amanda was burrowing into his life. He knew she was intelligent, possibly dangerous, but he still believed he had the upper hand. He underestimated the depth of her bitterness, the silence of her fury. But Amanda no longer needed him. She was orchestrating his downfall piece by piece, fabricating evidence, manipulating witnesses, and creating a perfect narrative that would ultimately lead to his arrest. The brilliance lay in how invisible her fingerprints would be. Amanda knew the law better than anyone, and now she was using that knowledge not to protect but to destroy. If she had her way, Cain wouldn't just lose his fortune or reputation, he'd lose his freedom. But then came the rumors. Whispers that started in shadows and quickly spread through the tangled grapevines of Genoa City and across the blood-soaked soil of Nice. Lily was missing. No calls. No social media activity. No responses to texts. At first, people assumed she had gone quiet to escape the chaos, a moment of solitude, perhaps, after the madness in France. But then someone mentioned Carter. That he had been seen near the vineyard that bordered Cain's estate late at night. That his car had returned muddy, the tires coated in thick clay from the orchard paths. Then came the most chilling detail, a freshly dug patch of earth, too symmetrical to be natural, covered in loose soil behind an abandoned chapel at the edge of the estate. People speculated. Carter had always been a shadow, loyal to no one, dangerous in ways few could name. But what if he had become Amanda's blade, not just figuratively but literally? What if Lily had been silenced permanently? Buried beneath French soil because Amanda had deemed her a threat too severe to tolerate? And what if Amanda, the woman once known for defending innocence, had not only approved it, but stood by as Carter dug the grave? In hushed tones, the story spread. Amanda had been seen walking calmly near the vineyard that night. Her coat was clean, but her boots had specks of earth along the edge. Carter had refused to meet anyone's eyes the next morning. And Cain, frantic and disoriented, claimed Lily had left without a word, but even he didn't believe it. The staff were silent. Security footage mysteriously wiped. Amanda, when questioned, gave a tight smile and said Lily probably needed space. But her voice was too even. Too rehearsed. Too devoid of concern. And those who looked close enough saw the faint smirk at the corner of her lips when she turned away. Cain spiraled. If Lily was truly gone, if Carter had done something and Amanda had let it happen, then he wasn't just dealing with betrayal, he was standing in the aftermath of murder. But what stunned him more than anything was that Amanda didn't care. Not about Lily. Not about him. Not even about Carter, who was now visibly cracking under the weight of what he might have done. Carter had always been loyal to survival. But now, with Lily possibly dead by his hand, the guilt was eating him alive. Amanda offered no comfort. She reminded him coldly that he had two choices: finish the mission, or become the next body buried in that same earth. It wasn't a threat. It was a fact. What Cain didn't know was that Amanda had already prepared the paperwork to frame him. Documents tying him to illegal transfers, security leaks, and offshore accounts. She was preparing to tip off authorities, to feed them just enough truth to blur the line between conspiracy and coincidence. Lily's death, if it became public, would lead directly to his arrest. Not because there was proof, but because Amanda had created the illusion of guilt so convincingly. She wanted him cornered. Defenseless. Ruined. Because for her, justice was no longer about balance. It was about annihilation. The question that haunted those who still dared speak of Amanda was simple: when did she become this monster? Was it gradual, the result of too many betrayals, too much unacknowledged grief? Or had she always carried this darkness within her, hidden beneath elegance and logic, waiting for the right spark to ignite? Whatever the answer, one thing was clear: Amanda was no longer trying to survive the system. She had become it, remorseless, precise, and lethal. Whether Lily was truly dead remained unconfirmed. Carter refused to speak. Amanda refused to clarify. Cain clung to hope, frantically searching for signs that Lily had escaped, that perhaps she had gone into hiding, that this was all an illusion. But every door he opened led to silence. Every call to voicemail. And every glance at Amanda made his stomach churn. He had once loved her. He had trusted her. And now, he realized, he had created her. In the shadows of Nice, under the weight of international scandal and whispers of murder, Amanda stood unshaken. The world was finally bending to her design. And if a few bodies had to disappear to keep that world intact, then so be it. Lily's silence was a message. Carter's obedience was a guarantee. And Cain's collapse, slow, inevitable, was the finale she had orchestrated with the precision of a maestro. The lawyer was long gone. In her place stood something far colder, a queen with no heart, only vengeance. And the game was far from over. Would you like me to continue with Cain discovering a clue that Lily might still be alive, possibly held somewhere secretly? Or should we explore Carter's guilt and possible betrayal of Amanda? I can also expand into a legal investigation closing in on all of them.